Hi everyone, welcome to what is the first of what I hope to be many vlogs in the future. In looking at how we get messages out and better communication, doing vlogs is something that many people have asked for, so here goes. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the hard work over the last year. It's been a difficult year for a lot of people. This transition to unitary was never going to be easy, but most of our residents didn't notice it even happened. So again, I think that's a testament to all your hard work, dedication, and providing excellent services to all. To keep services going through the pandemic and high levels of sickness that we've experienced again has been sterling in terms of the work effort and ethos that we've had throughout the departments and services. So for the people I've met this year, your passion has come through. Yes, it has been challenging. Yes, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. But I think we're starting to move through those now, and this year hopefully we'll start to move through from stabilisation into transformation, looking more at the strategies and the delivery and the focus on doing a great job for our communities as we go forward. So again, huge thank you to everyone for the work and dedication over the past year. I'd just like to now touch on a few things that are going on at the moment. Again, as I said, communications has been something that, with hindsight, could have been better. Put my hand up to that one. We've now developed a communication strategy and a plan going forward. As I said at the start, the vlog, emails, team meetings, you'll see a lot more of me and the ADs and managers as we go forward. We're starting to develop a forward plan of what our priorities are. And now we've got the budgets in place. Now we're looking at restructures, making sure that the priorities align to the opportunities that exist out there is absolutely key. So right across the directorate, we're making sure that we've got the right plans in place for each and every service, and you will be part of that planning and that development. Future ways of working. When I get out there and I talk to people, this is one that concerns people. What does that look like? How does that going to work? Are we all going to be in the office, or are we all going to be working at home? For me, it's really looking at the opportunities that have been developed through the COVID pandemic. There have been great opportunities in terms of work-life balance, working from home, and making sure that work is still continued. However, there are also opportunities of being in the office. Again, I've said this many times, when we're looking at collaborating, difficult, challenging topic areas or issues, there's nothing better than getting around a table and working through those. Networking, what I've seen from the managers, getting the managers back in a room to have meetings and discussions, is there's a real vibe to the networking, the collaboration, the meeting people, talking people, listening to people, etc. So there's a good opportunity there to make sure that networking, we don't lose that. I also think that in terms of our younger members of staff or those on a career path, that to hear and to be next to professionals or technical people or even peers to see how work's done, it's an essential part of training that you work and you experience that. So, and finally, I think from a health and mental health point of view, there are opportunities for getting back into the office. The task is to make sure we get that balance right as we go forward. So that is something that you will again be involved in, working through getting that right balance between working from home, being in the office, getting that flexibility, but also getting the both sets of opportunities identified. One of the other things I'd like to touch on is the culture, and you know, when four organisations come together, you do have four different cultures, four different ways of doing it, and it's so important that we bring back together the best of all of the councils, that one council approach as well, that we move out of silos and we really find out what the opportunities are for the directorate to make a difference to our communities and our businesses. So We'll be doing a lot of work with, and we've already started with some of the managers. They'll be working with you through the team meetings, through your one-to-ones, to really embed the culture, and not just what it says in terms of thrive, but what that really means to you as service areas and you as individuals. It's got to be meaningful and empowering to really mean anything to anyone. So developing the culture is something we've started working on, and we will continue to work on to make sure that we develop what's right for West Northamptonshire and what's right for the place service area. Overarching response to the staff survey themes, I'll touch on that. I've got a few slides as we go forward. We did the staff survey some months ago now. We've started looking at the outcomes of that. We're taking it so seriously. The survey has really identified some opportunities and some issues we need to solve within the directorate. So we'll be really using the survey as a focus for how we develop as we move forward. And again, as attached to that, learning and development, as you'll see from the slides, making sure that people have the opportunity to grow, to develop is obvious, it's clear, and it's something that we're now starting to work in detail with our learning and development colleagues to understand what is required and what is needed for the directorate as we go forward. So on the staff survey, we had a good response rate. That's really pleasing that people took the time to actually to fill in the form. As you can see, 48% of employees responded, had a good experience at work. They found it pleasant. 18% found they were actually highly engaged in terms of what we were doing. And that's probably where I thought we'd be actually at this time. And that's good. But what we need to do is really focus on the 36% of employees who weren't having a great experience at this time. And there's a whole range of reasons that sit behind that. And again, we'll be acting on those points as we go forward. And again, the 99% that were highly disengaged, again, really understanding why that is the case and how we can move people through that whole process to not only get them engaged, but getting them to enjoy work and enjoy coming to work, be proud of what they do. That's what we will do as we go forward. I'm absolutely convinced of that. So just a quick highlight of some of the things you said in terms of the survey, and I've broken it down into the different areas. So in highways and transport, we had job levels, all job levels think training in their job is no great benefit to them personally with limited opportunities to learn. Again, so that's something that a message we heard pretty consistently across the area. Something we haven't really developed yet is that learning and development process. And again, a big question that was asked was, is there a budget to go alongside of this? So again, we'll touch on this. They think that people within their team go out of their way to help each other, which is really great, possibly because of the exception, with the exception of team members. They perceive their team would to be no fun to work with no strong sense of family within their team. And again, I think this is what we found is people had a real affinity to their former districts, and that's obvious. Lots of people committed lots of time to that organisation, and it's how we take people forward and how we take them into this new authority and get you to feel ownership of that as we go forward. So managers feel their skills, they have skills the organisation could use but don't. Again, that's something we've really got to grasp and utilise as we're going forward. So that's what you said, some real negative issues there that as managers, as exec director, I've absolutely taken seriously. So we're developing a learning development plan. We started also looking at appraisals, making sure you have your one-to-ones with your managers. We're looking at improved communication, making sure that goes cascades both up and down. We're looking at the development of a service plan, making sure that we've got the priorities set. We're looking at strategies across the whole of highways, transport, and across the service area as well to make sure we've got that long-term vision. What we really focused on at the moment is giving everyone that long-term certainty of where they fit in, that their skills be utilised, and that we have a culture really developing that one council, one directorate approach where we don't have silos, and that everyone has a sense of belonging in terms of the directorate as we go forward. Assets, again, very similar issues that were raised there. They feel that managers could do more to help fulfill their potential. Managers feeling their job could be better for their personal growth. Feeling power struggles having negative impact, again, understandable. Managers consider their pay to be unfair for the responsibilities that they've had at this particular time. So again, what are we doing in response to that? Well, we're looking at defining how assets and environment fits in with the wider corporate objectives. We're looking at embedding appraisal processes, making sure that every one of you has that one-to-one with the manager so that we can understand potential, we can understand growth, and we can really drive that forward. Regular discussions to explore cross-training opportunities with team members. Looking at a complete review of the communication in terms of the new management structures to make sure that you've got absolute clarity about how we will work going forward and how you can contribute to that team ethos and structure. Again, one of the ideas came from assets was looking at a directory across the directorate. Actually, that's been now adopted as a council-wide point of view, and that will be published quite soon. So we know who everyone is and the right people to contact. In terms of reg services, again, similar themes coming out, limited opportunities to learn, managers feeling their skills could be better used, etc. A perception that some departments and teams don't work well together, power struggles, again, all job levels, with the exception of team leaders and supervisors, perceive their job to be poor for their personal growth. That learning and development opportunity, that skills matrix, that making sure that everyone has a development plan going forward. Again, we'll be identifying a whole host of opportunities for learning and development as we go forward. That relates to not just the health and safety side of it, but looks at the career development, and again looks at the succession planning, making sure that even if you're not in a management position at the minute, if you've got aspirations for growth, that we can start moving you through the training side of those things. Looking at cross-departmental working, this is something that we're really focused on now as a management team, and again, getting that culture right, getting that ethos right. Again, lots more information coming out in regards to that. Communications, especially about transformation, again, we'll be doing lots of highlight and update reports as we go forward as part of that communication strategy. Work-life balance, yeah, that's something that we've talked about, that future working. Every team will be slightly different, but every team will have consistent issues and opportunities that they'll want to look at. So we will come up with some guidance for managers, again, and come up with team contracts where we can all buy into getting that balance correct as we go forward. In terms of growth, climate and regeneration, again, the job training was something that came across loud and clear, that team members feeling their limited opportunities to learn and grow. I think we've touched on that. Managers, again, peer responsibilities, that's something that will come through job evaluation, and that's something that has been progressed really quickly. Most job levels feel their team is no fun to work with. Again, that's something that I think will start to change as we get through this first year that we've already got through. We've now got the budgets in place, we've got the restructures starting to focus, we're starting to bring people together. Fun is a big part of my ethos in terms of work. Again, possibly too much fun sometimes, some would suggest, but nevertheless, if you don't enjoy coming to work, then you're not going to get the optimum amount out of folk, and that's the same for me. It'll be the same for you guys as well. So again, making sure that we don't forget the fun bit is something that we're very clear on. So again, similar issues, development service plans, team plans. That's the obvious stuff that we can do, but it's important that we do it with you as the staff, that you're part of that, you feel ownership of those plans as we go forward. Looking at the well-being and support, making sure we've got the right systems in place where you've got those opportunities to work through any issues, etc. Communication, again, the what, the when, the how. Let's make sure that we're clear about what we want to achieve and about how well are we doing. We need to celebrate success, and by God, we've had a number of successes over the past year, and we'll continue to have those successes. It's important that we celebrate those as we go forward. And again, it's a case of not waiting for the directorate or the council to start this. We've got to, and let's press that button now. Let's get on with this, and let's not wait for organisational change. Let's just do it. So I've talked about what we're doing collectively at a directorate level, but again, in terms of each area, and I'm not going to go through these, I'm going to make this presentation available so people can read through the different areas. But we've obviously done some large-scale transformation. We've disaggregated, or currently disaggregating and restructuring highways and transport services. That's over 100 people that will be disaggregated north and west. Goes alongside a lot of investment going into those particular areas, and that's a word that we've not been able to use in the past in terms of highways. Again, looking currently at planning and both the DM and the policy side, and making sure we've got the right structures in place. Already we've completed trading standards, we've completed the waste service. We'll be looking at all of the service areas as we go forward. Some we can do quite quickly and easily, some are a little bit more difficult because of disaggregation or because of scale. So that will have a lot more capacity. So there'll be other pieces of work in flight 2, such as incoming and outgoing post. That's something that's really got a lot of services animated. So sounds quite easy, but has complexity to it. System replacement, this is something that will really get us working and working well. We've really got to get the right systems, the right processes, taking the best of what we've got, but adding to that, making sure we are up to date and current with processes, and we've just become the best efficiency that we can find out there. Again, building control is something that we're looking at. We're bringing some work in-house. Daventry was outsourced. That's come back in-house. And again, we're looking at that as options as we go forward. So in terms of reg services, again, licensing, building control, environmental protection, lots of work being done on that, such as public spaces protection orders, being fit for purpose, looking at taxi and private hire, new taxis. We all know taxi drivers can be a challenging community, and therefore we can only work with them positively in making sure that we come up with the best opportunities that meet their needs. As I said earlier, trading standards as well as their existing work, they've really rolled up the sleeves and got involved in the Ukraine scenario. And again, just looking at some of the issues around dogs and complying with import rules, etc. Additional tasks because of Brexit, because of shortages of sunflower oil substituted with rapeseed oil. So these are the technical issues that really add on to the day-to-day, you know, often come as surprises. That, again, rolling up the sleeves and cracking on with it. So trading standards, cracking job there. Health protection. Following COVID and just getting all of that industry back up and running safely has been a hell of a challenge. And again, I take my hat off to everyone involved in that. Not forgetting that some of the big events have come back this year. And again, all of the arrangements we have to do to make sure that everything's safe and everyone's safe in regard to that. In terms of planning, again, getting on with the strategic plan, massive opportunity in terms of driving the economy and the development within West Northampton as we go forward. In terms of development management, just getting through a lot of big applications, unlocking hundreds, thousands of homes and jobs as we go forward. We've unfortunately said goodbye to our land charges colleagues that have transferred over to legal services. However, whilst they've transferred services, doesn't mean to say that that relationship will change at all. Regeneration. Lots of work in terms of the market square, lots of work in terms of delivering individual projects like Toaster, Hardingston, as well as the town centre generally. A hell of a lot of investment going on in West Northamptonshire, and again, a great team behind that, really delivering to time, to budget, to the processes that we've identified there. And again, a big shout out to the economic team, a small team that is doing an incredible amount of work, incredible what such a small team has been able to do to support our businesses, to now looking at UK shared prosperity, hopefully bringing in millions of pounds. And again, if you've not been to the museum, please get along there. Something to be really proud of, and the exhibitions that they are bringing there. I went along to a Viking exhibition a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic, really different, and again, something that to be proud of. We've got Japan, a floating world in print, and again, others, Star Wars trilogy coming soon. So get yourself along there and support your colleagues. In terms of assets, again, big restructure has taken place there. We've got the names of the managers that have been put into place. Sixfields, probably a project that nobody's heard about, but nevertheless a challenging one from many years of angst, political challenge and press interest. We think we're getting there, but again, as you'd expect with the Sixfield process, yet another judicial review to be managed through. Climate change and what we're going to do about that. Net zero by 2030 in terms of the council, not just the council, but West Northamptonshire generally will be net zero by 2030. What a challenge we've taken on there, but nevertheless, with the focus, the commitment, and hopefully the finance to go with that, we'll make big strides to getting there. Other things like nature recovery strategy, work that we're doing in terms of the environment generally, the parks, the outdoor learning side, the archives, accreditation, office optimization, so much work being done in assets and environment. And again, we've now got our country parks back into the West. We're now managing those, having disaggregated those. So some great work done throughout the team. And in terms of our waste, apologies. Again, increasing capacity to deliver projects, encourage behavioural team. It's all of that stuff that we do year in, year out that often gets forgotten. The annual campaigns to really increase the recycling side of things. Again, the team has been disaggregated. Team are collaborating with Reg Services to make sure that we educate people. We try and stop the littering, the fly tipping, the graffiti. And if we can't stop it, we find the people and then we prosecute them. And then we put them on the front page of the newspaper and tell everyone all about it. So the next big challenge for the team is to develop that strategy going forward. And again, this is what we've talked about previously. And again, asking some big questions. How do we collect waste? What frequency? What's in-house? What's out with outsourced services? How many household waste recycling centres do we actually need? Where do they need to be? And again, how do we use our facilities or create facilities for the wider industry? So some big stuff going on there as we move forward. In terms of highways, again, disaggregation, we've talked about that previously. Restructure is now starting to take shape. We're still going through that consultation, so hopefully we'll get there very soon. We've got a big new contract probably the biggest contract in the council. We're getting to final completion of that. Hopefully in June we'll be awarding that contract, which will really start to elevate the control and the priorities that from a West Northampton point of view, with that commencing in September. Again, as we start that new contract, we've got to wind the current one up, and again, no mean task in itself. So meanwhile, again, it's all the stuff that goes with that day-to-day, the filling in the potholes, they're looking at sustainable transport, they're looking at the buses, they're looking at the scooters and what we can do in terms of really embracing the scooters as we go forward. So again, incredible amount of work being done there. And again, we're now talking about communities and opportunities. Many of you may have heard that we are bringing together housing and leisure into place. We're putting that under the umbrella of communities and opportunities alongside economic growth and regeneration. And this will be a real focus on our communities, looking at the challenges, the opportunities within our distinct communities, and really looking at the solutions needed to make people's lives better as we go forward. That's what we're here for. So again, a lot of understanding in terms of what our neighbourhoods, what are the problems, what are the solutions, and how we collectively, and I mean collectively, as a single council, work together in developing the best slides and best opportunities for our residents as we go forward. In terms of communications, hopefully you will start to see very soon, if you haven't already, a much better communication linkage, much better lines of communication going through, and that's both ways. Communications through the entire directorate is the thread of how we get to be efficient, how we get to enjoy work, to have the fun, to deliver our priorities. So every month I'll be either doing a vlog or an email. I'll also, once things start settling down, be getting out a hell of a lot more, meeting, talking to teams. I've done a bit of that. I need to do more. Again, I understand that, and you will see a lot more of me under the ADs as we go forward. All of you should now have one-to-ones with your line management managers. They should be in your diaries, if not already happening, every 4 to 6 weeks. And if that's not happening, let me know, because that is a commitment I'm making to you, that you will have those one-to-ones in place. And again, it's the same with team meetings every month, so that you can be heard and you can help involved in shaping your service. So that's where I thank you again for your time, your efforts, your patience through the last year, and look forward to a lot more of these vlogs. Unfortunately for you, you've got to no doubt listen to these things, or hopefully you'll listen to these things. But again, hopefully I'll see you very soon. So until the next time, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.